Hello.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. We're back to answer a question. This one is a serious one. It's kind of a tense one for good reason. This week we're answering a question from a submissive who has experienced trauma in a previous DS relationship, is now in a new dynamic, and wants to feel confident. Content warning for anybody who may need it. There are mentions, but no details, of sexual and other forms of abuse and trauma. It's only mentioned briefly, but it is the source of the question. So if that is not something that is good for you to be thinking about, listening about, whatever, take care of yourself. Skip this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Okay, so let's get into the question.
Okay.
I've been with my daddy dom for a little over a month now. As of September 2024, I've come out of a toxic and abusive DS dynamic that's left me struggling with my sense of self-worth, especially when it comes to my sexuality and worth within the dynamic. My partner now is absolutely wonderful, kind, loving, compassionate, understanding, empathetic, and funny. I love everything about him, especially when he goes off on tangents about folk music. My ex-dom made it all about sex and made it hard for me to voice relational concerns because they'd be dismissed or he'd ghost for 3 weeks or more. I can't do much sexually due to the trauma from sexual abuse from my ex-dom, complicated by reproductive problems that cause a lot of pain, and giving oral being completely off limits. I'm also in chemical menopause and on HRT, but HRT has done nothing for my desire for sexual play at all. I'm also very new to sexual activity in general. My ex-dom was my only sexual partner, and I don't do sexual play casually. My issues come down to not feeling like a good enough submissive or partner because I'm not able to have fun with sex with my partner in any way. We're an incredible match personality-wise, and we have a lot of fun together and love to cuddle together, especially when falling asleep. I hear my ex-dom's words about the only thing important to him in our dynamic was sex, and his mind turning back to sex during every argument, and how it diminished through the abuse, how I'm not open-minded enough. I'm also taking legal action against my ex-dom for the abuse. I've gone to lots of munches and play events and have a wonderful dynamic with my partner, and I have none of the same issues that I had in the dynamic with my ex-dom. I couldn't be happier to be in the relationship and the community I'm in now. How do I stop feeling ashamed of my lack of desire for sex and enjoy what we have? How do I feel more confident in the dynamic? It's a heavy one.
Yes, it is.
It's an important thing. There's no way this person is, the first, the last, or the only to ever go through something like this.
True.
I did not spring this question on JB. This is what we talked about before recording. The one thing that's first and foremost, because we are just two weirdos on the internet, we are not qualified for actual, the actual kind of help that will probably help you process through some of this.
Right.
And that is, if you have not done so already, please see if you can find a kink-aware, kink-friendly therapist.
Yes.
Extra ideal if they are familiar with and can help you with any sexual function situations, mental health-wise. We are absolutely linking to the site where you can go to find somebody. Depending on where you live and the rules about all that and licensing and all that stuff, good stuff. Could be limited, it might not. Telehealth might be an option. Therapy in and of itself is something that would probably help in general, but specific to kink, specific to dynamics, specific to how it's like making you feel and how you're reacting with your own, sexual play and fun and ability. If you can find them, I would really highly recommend somebody who is actually qualified in those areas.
Absolutely.
Especially with somebody who understands kink. Now, on a, once that's settled, as you're doing that, what are some things we think you can try or that may help? We will give it a go. What are some of your thoughts?
I've, in the past, I've kind of run into some of these things too. And you even pointed it out to me in the past. And as far as going to say, you are looking at the things you don't have and not enjoying the things you do have.
Right.
And I think for many people that's a common problem, okay? Because it's so easy to fixate on the bad. People will be more likely to say something negative than positive.
Absolutely.
And I think this kind of falls a little bit into the same thing. It's hard to see the forest from the trees sometimes.
Right, because we as individuals will think about what we think we're lacking, what we think we're not doing, what we're, air quotes, supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it sounds like you have, a really good relationship here starting. And, is it easy to break that mindset? No, it's not. Like we both agreed on up front, I think some therapy would be amazing, would be very helpful to this. But I think, you can do some things in the meantime that might help. Maybe develop, lack of a better word, maybe a mantra. That you can reinforce to yourself, that, hey, there is good here.
Right. Yeah, you kind of have to the best of your ability, rewrite the script in your brain.
Exactly.
And sort of override it as much as you can.
And the only way you can really do that is kind of by repetition. Okay? So, they say, mantra, but they can be helpful. So I think that's something that you could, want to try.
And I think if you choose to go that way, it's whatever you choose to say to yourself, to think to yourself consistently. Try to think of, it's a little bit of that manifestation thing, trying to think of what you want to have and who you want to be, while also, you've already clearly outlined it here, what is good about the relationship that you're in, and that you are enough as you are right now.
Correct.
Regardless of what has happened to you and the process you have to go through to work through some of that and find your way through it. There's no out, there's no over under, there is just through. Yeah. Who you are right now is good enough, and clearly who you are is good enough for your existing partner. You walked into this relationship with this past and with these traumas and with these health issues, right? And you are loving your time with this partner. You are finding joy and good in the relationship that you're in. And clearly you're not disappointing them, because they knew who you were and they have figured out who you are in this time. So, or they are figuring it out. It is a relatively new relationship, and they're happy with you, and happy with the relationship you have based from description. So that you are enough, and what you are able to offer and do and who you are able to be in this moment is enough. The other thing I would recommend is to think about what submission means to you. Are there other parts of your submission that are non-sexual? And if they have never been before, is that something that you can explore? If your only view and experience with submission is sexual, and sex is just off the table and not the right thing for you right now, sure, you might feel lacking as a submissive, but are you a service sub? Are you somebody who just kind of wants to be told what to do? Are you somebody who feels like they would thrive with well-negotiated rules? If you haven't already, or if you've had to put it on hold from this previous relationship, start exploring what submission means to you. Submissive Guide, the website, submissiveguide.com, linked in the places, is a great place to go for that. Luna, who runs that site, also has books that she's written that you can get electronically or physical copies. The new bottoming book is not specifically about submission, but there's a lot there that talks about bottoming and submitting, not just within a sexual play kind of thing.
And then we have the 30 Days of DS from Loving BDSM, which you had questions that you can answer. And, then you get an understanding of who you are more from those too.
Right. And those are 30 Days of DS is designed to be either conversation starters or journal prompts, however you want to go through it. And it's a little bit each day to sort of think about what power exchange means to you and what you want it to be for you. That would be my, it's like you said, it's very easy to focus on what you don't have, what you can't do, what's not happening. And it's very easy to lose sight of what you can do, what you do have, what is good right with you right now. The other thing, and it's the most boring answer, it's the one that is just frustrating as all hell, and that's time.
Yeah.
This is all very new. The getting out of the relationship, new. We are recording in early February 2025.
Barely 6 months.
Right. And what was it? How long have you been in this relationship? A little over a month. That means there's also some new relationship energy. There's just getting to know each other. There's just maybe hopefully starting to develop a strong and deep trust between one another. And it's way early days. The things you think you know about yourself, your partner, your dynamic today could fundamentally shift in 6 months, a year longer, right? So, it is, all of this is still fresh for you. And there's no cure. I don't want to be blasé about it and be like, oh, it is a time thing. You have to have enough time to go through the legal process that you're dealing with, to maybe find a therapist who is aware and understanding of dynamics in power exchange, to be able to help you kind of walk through this and work through some of this. You have to deal with your own health. And quite frankly, chemical menopause and HRT and low arousal sexual desire, yes, but also if I had been through some of what you have just minimally described, I sure as shit wouldn't have any sexual desire either. Yeah. Of course you don't. Regardless of the medical and health and physical reasons, of course you don't. It's, I will say this, if you had asked this question and said, I'm thinking about getting into a relationship, my answer would have been, maybe put that on pause. Yeah. Go slow. But you're here now. You are happy. Your partner seems to be wonderful. So now
they seem to be very supportive.
Right. And hopefully that continues. That's what I would want for anybody. So they can't fix you. They can't make it better for you, but maybe they can be a support for you. Maybe they can hold your hand through this journey. But all of that takes time. It's not just because you're out of the relationship and you're into a new relationship doesn't mean everything that you've gone through just, is somehow like you can not think about it, it won't affect you, you've moved on. Yeah. It's just not how any of it works.
Right. I mean, it would be nice if, you walked out of an old relationship and you just flipped a switch and, off you go. But we as people, we aren't. We need to, think about things, to work through things.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you're going to feel what you feel through this whole process. And some of that, and I wish you did not feel shame. I wish you were not lacking in confidence, but it's also understandable because of whatever it is, without knowing the details, that you were put through and that somebody did to you. Right. Yeah. So I can't tell you how to stop feeling shame. That we are not qualified. I don't know how you become more confident as of this moment, but my experience says it's a time thing. It's a trust thing. In so much as you can, if submission outside of sex is a thing you gravitate towards, that's where I would put my energy in terms of power exchange dynamics. I would be like, okay, sex will happen if it's meant to happen, when it's meant to happen. It's off the table. It's just not even like I'm working through some stuff. I got to do some healing and some processing. Maybe we'll get there. And the partner you have seems to know that, or they wouldn't be with you, right? So then it's okay, let's pivot and let's look at power exchange that isn't sexual, that is about the literal exchange of power. I'm submissive, they're my daddy dom, I've got rules now, I've got things I have to do that aren't about sex. And if and when it's meant to be, whether it's with lots of therapy and, whatever else you find that helps you work through this, or it happens a little bit more naturally as the trust grows between you, you might find yourself back there going, okay, I can baby steps. I can start doing some sexual things. But again, the thing I feel like you're doing is you're putting pressure on yourself. Right. And that's not going to help you. No. To the extent that two weirdos on the internet with microphones can convince you of this, that is the thing I'd like to say is let the pressure fall away to the best of your abilities and just go, it's not a never for sex. It's a not right now. That's not good for me. That's not where I need to be. I seem to have this partner who gets that. So let's focus on the things that are bringing you joy, that make you happy together, where you can connect as dom and sub in ways that you both enjoy and want to do. It has nothing to do with sex. You as a human being also as a submissive, are more than the sexual things you can do with and for a partner.
Right.
There is so much more to you
Yes.
than that. There's so much more to power exchange than that, if that's what you want. So I can say that all day long. I know that doesn't mean you hear it and go, oh, of course, now I look at the world in a different way. That I know. But I think you need to hear that from people outside of you who can be more objective than you're ever going to be. And I think maybe if you try the manifestation mantra, kind of like, let me rewrite the script in my own head and say things to myself that, and again, that is a Band-Aid kind of thing. That would never just work all on its own. You need the tools that hopefully a good professional can help you with and help you find and to navigate all of this. Plus just the stress of the legal process of this all. That's going to linger for as long as that lingers, because depending on where you're located, you didn't say U.S., but I know U.S., if anything even gets to come of it, it takes for fucking ever. So yeah, to the best of your abilities, just mutually go, okay, sex is just off the table. It's just not a thing in this relationship right now. What we can do, the cuddles, the having fun, the laughing, let's focus on that. Because you need some of that in your life. You deserve to have that in your life. And I think over time in that way, when you redefine what submission means to you, if that resonates away from sex, I think you'll find confidence there. I think, being with a partner that treats you as you're supposed to be treated, with respect and care, and that you enjoy being with, and that you're having a better experience. I think from over time, confidence will come from that as well.
And from reading this, I have one other little thing I want to throw in there, but I think it's kind of important. Be kind to yourself.
The hardest thing of all.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, you just as I have no doubt you would be kind to your partner if they described all of this to you, right? You would go, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. How can I help? How can I support you? You are worthy of the same things. Talk to yourself the way you talk to your best friend or your current partner who you adore. You are worthy of that too.
Yeah.
That is hard.
It
takes time to retrain your brain a little bit. It will feel silly as shit.
Rewriting those bad tapes is difficult, but it can be done.
Right. But don't think that doing that is all. If you're not already, please see what you can do to find a kink-aware therapist, somebody who can focus on the sexual aspect for you. There are sex coaches, therapists, people who specialize on that side of things as well. Let telehealth be your friend. Over time, this will never go away for you, but over time I think you'll find your ways to handle it and deal with it and get through it and think about it differently. And it's just, to me, it's too fresh. Of course you feel the way you feel. And I think that's all we can offer.
Correct.
Okay, we are just two weirdos on the internet with microphones. We only have the view that we have. That's not the only way to think about this. So if you have experienced anything like this, have thoughts about it, if you're a mental health professional and can provide some better things for this person to think about or to go talk about or to find somebody, whatever, not therapy. I'm not asking you to be a therapist in the comments, but let us know if there's other things they need to think of or professionals they need to seek out, that kind of stuff. If you have anything like that to contribute, feel free to leave that in the comments below. We can all not only just learn from one another, we can all support one another. And there are many, many different ways for somebody to get through something like this in a way that helps them, be happier and healthier on the other side. I'm not going to say if you enjoyed this. If you found this helpful at all, we love a thumbs up. If you want to come back for more of this, and also our silliness that's usually more prevalent, please consider subscribing.
And go ahead and ring the notification bell to get updates of new content.
Just do what Daddy says. I have found life is infinitely easier and we'll just do what he says.